Oh boy, episode 6 was a lot of reading. They talked quite a bit in this episode and about some actually serious stuff, like some serious topics. Episode 6 of the Promised Neverland. There's not a lot of moving around. There's not a lot of action. It's kind of in like three main places. One thing I want to point out is that the opening has actually changed a bit. I went to the bathroom before the episode actually started, and I was like, kind of just like, oh, whatever. And when I came back, I saw Norman turning around with Ray and Emma in the opening. One thing I really like about animes is when sometimes they add little bits and pieces from the like current events into the openings. I like it when they do that. So honestly, the only thing to really talk about is I think the biggest part is Emma and Ray's conversation in the middle chunk of the episode. So Norman is now back. He's got his whole posse. Apparently he didn't get transferred to where kids go to die. He got transferred to like a different farm facility, Lambda or something like that. And it's basically where they experiment on like smart people or people that they want to like kind of like it's basically how they experiment the monsters, the demons experiment to be like, how can we better farm these children? So he went off there and eventually like got help from another supporter, another one of Minerva's supporters or people, and he liberated that farm, and I think they said another farm, but him and his crew are basically like, they're off. They got a whole plan going, and the plan ultimately is he's going to drug every single demon they come across in order to help degenerate their bodies and their minds. Apparently demons, we could have kind of surmised this to some degree, because otherwise why would they need super smart kids? But apparently the reason why demons eat humans of like high intelligence is because it helps maintain their own intelligence and their own physical being. That's why there's so many demons that look like humans. Demons, you ever hear that saying, you are what you eat? That's basically what it is for demons. They eat whatever. So that's why like the dog demons, I guess maybe they eat a lot of like bipedal animals or maybe a lot of canines, I guess. And if they don't eat these humans or whatever, they eventually regress in intelligence and maybe form or something like that, and they basically just like, they lose all function, and they basically become like the wild demons that we saw even in the first episode. Now that's all peachy keen, but honestly Norman is acting a little weird. Now, not a little weird per se, but he's definitely not quite the same as we all know him. Everybody's super happy to see him, of course, but Emma and Ray, right from the get-go, especially after hearing even just a part of his plan, they don't exactly trust him. And I didn't get that feeling either. And that brings us to the crux of the issue here. Basically, Emma's not really about the plan. She doesn't like the idea of maybe not killing anybody, but also the idea that just like, well, there's gotta be some kind of way to find a solution that doesn't result in them being as bad as the demons. If the demons are doing horrible things and then the humans do horrible things by regressing the like intelligent demons, they have families, they have loved ones, then like, where do you go from there? Violence begets violence, hatred begets hatred. It's a circle of violence, a circle of hatred. And Ray and Emma have a really good heart-to-heart about this. Ray is kind of about the plan because it's like, yo, what else are they gonna do? But he understands Emma's point of view, and I get the feeling that like, even though he's cool with the extermination idea, he's also kind of looking for another like backup plan, and that's why he's supporting Emma in her opposition to it. And honestly, whatever the plan ends up being in its entirety, I think this is one of the most important things that you can do in any story. Is so many stories involve, here are the heroes, here are the bad guys, and that's just it. It doesn't matter. But a really good story, I think, at the very least, unfolds the other little bits and pieces of like, well, just because their bad guys are doing bad things to the main heroes, what about their families? When they get killed, maybe they have children, maybe they have loved ones or friends, family, whatever, And how does that make them feel? So it's like, in war, things get really, really messy. I mean, even if there is a clear bad and good and whatever, it doesn't matter, because oftentimes the bad side, they don't see it as bad. They see themselves doing some kind of justice. And even if they are doing horrible, horrible things, they don't necessarily see that. And even more so, their friends and family don't necessarily see that. So when they die, if whoever dies, let's say Emma kills a demon, that demon's family might think of her as evil then, even if it was in self-defense. So I am very happy that they're at least addressing this in some capacity, especially since they met two demons that they call their friends. Now, granted, there's a whole thing going on with the two of them, even before this episode. Clearly, they were not really all on the up and up. But they, as far as Emma and Ray and the kids are concerned, they're their friends. And honestly, you could make that argument for Mujika, because she seemed a little more on the level with the kids, but honestly, Sonju is just kind of a dick. But as long as we're talking about Sonju and Mujika, I want to bring up the plan again. So the plan, again, is to use a drug to degenerate, to basically just like halt any improvements or maintenance that these demons do, and let them regress to their more basic instincts. But the problem with that is, what about the demons that don't eat humans? I mean, obviously we only know of two with Mujika and Sonju, but there's got to be some other ones. Like, and how are they maintaining their independence from humans? So you have to wonder, like, even if this plan did get rid of X amount of demons, what about the ones that don't eat humans? And we've seen, even with Sonju, like, just because they're not eating humans from farms doesn't mean they're against eating humans altogether, or even just killing them. Like, any demon could theoretically kill and eat a person, but, like, it doesn't matter whether it's coming from a farm or not. So the whole plan is already kind of riddled with some issues, and it only compounds with Emma having misgivings about it. And it doesn't help that Norman is kind of acting weird. And again, he's not acting, like, way out there weird. It's just, like, he's not the same. There's something completely different, whether it be like just, his experiences at that facility changed him, or maybe something's completely different and it's not really him. I don't know. But ultimately, I like that this episode brought that conversation. There is a conversation of, like, is it right to do wrong if it means doing right for yourself? I would even argue that the concept of, a father steals bread in order to feed his family, he technically did a crime in order to do good, that's still relatively way different than, we're going to eradicate this entire species, and or like debilitate this entire species at the very least, and just to save ourselves. Especially since, like, they're kids. Like, even the adults in this situation don't fully understand the whole picture. This is a 1,000+ year conflict and issue that's been going on, and the fact that they think that they can just resolve whatever it is one way or the other, it's not that easy. It's never going to be that easy. So with all these misgivings, Ray tells Emma, go talk to Norman. He's our friend. Let's just get it out in the open, see what he has to say about it. And they go to where him and his, like, new crew are hiding out. And we get to see what his new subordinates are like, because they call him boss. And there's some kind of, like, laughy stuff where it's like, he's different from what he was before. And it's kind of interesting to see the difference is, like, his old friends with his new friends. But things get a little bit turned up in the serious vibe, where it's clear that Norman and his new crew are complete psychopaths. They are not right. And part of it is like, okay, they have been experimented on. They're clearly messed up, just like from an emotional standpoint in general, and physical probably too. But, like, psychologically, I don't know. They're out for revenge. So it's not, their plan is not simply this is what needs to be done for society. It's also a little bit of like tit for tat kind of stuff going on, which Emma's not down for. But clearly, especially I think her name is Barbara, she is a little bit nuts. She is literally eating demons, and it's kind of makes my stomach turn thinking about it. But she's eating like this giant freaking like leg of a demon, and she gets really pissed off at Emma and Emma doesn't really even say anything. Like the entire time, it's basically mostly Barbara, Cecil, something like that, and then Vincent. And it's basically the three of them talking. And Emma and Ray kind of interject occasionally and talk and say whatever about Norman. But like ultimately, it's just the three of them talking at Ray and Emma. And Barbara gets pissed off at Emma because there's just like that little... she's kind of got a weird face going because as the three of them are talking about how they hate demons and they want to see them eradicated, blah, 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 Emma obviously is thinking, well, this is not quite right. And so there's almost a little bit of a confrontation between Emma and Barbara right then and there until she gets, like, essentially pulled off of her. She's standing on the table, but, like, she gets told to go and, like, cool off. And it's just clear that the three of them are, like, not mentally stable, which begs the question, even though Norman is super quiet and calm and whatever, he's probably got a screw loose too. He's got like this marking on him that shows that he was in that facility. And I get the feeling that even if he is the same actual Norman, it is literally him, I get the feeling that he's not all there. The final thing that we see is Norman showing them, they want him to, they start off by saying, hey, what are the details of this plan specifically? And he starts off by showing them like these vials of like the concoction, the chemical, the whatever he's making, the drug that he's making to do said extermination or regression. And he's just talking about this is it, this is whatever, and they bring up the point of Sonju and Mujika and how like there are some demons that don't necessarily eat humans. So what do we do about them? Apparently Norman knows Mujika in some way, and I forget what he calls her, like something blood something. I should have remembered that. But ultimately, clearly they have a connection, and I'm sure that we'll find out more next episode. But it really kind of brings the question of like, who is Mujika? Like, she's clearly not just some random demon that's like traveling around as Sonju. They've clearly got ulterior motives. But ultimately, is Mujika bad or is she good? All of the like posters or whatever that we have are it's like, oh, Emma like about to eat her meal, and then you got Mujika also about to eat her meal. Kind of a darker looking aesthetic. So I'm wondering if the poster is way more indicative of who Mujika really is. Maybe she's like the princess of all demons. I don't know. But that's basically the crux of this episode, is laying out, yes, something needs to be done, but is killing and like basically taking away an entire species way of life in general, is that the right thing to do just because? Now, like humans, like if you're gonna do something for the right reasons. Don't do it because of revenge or hatred. Do it because it's the right thing to do, and that's really where Emma and I think Ray ultimately stand. And clearly they're not on the same page as Norman, so we shall see how that goes. That's all I've got to say. I will see you guys in another video. If you liked anything I had to say, please leave a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And leave a comment if you have any opinions on this. No spoilers. I know that there's a whole thing about them skipping an entire arc for this thing, but I'm just going to roll with it. I care, but like, I don't care in the context of individual episodes. So don't spoil anything. Anyways, I will see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.